Good morning, America. Breaking news. A massive blow overnight to the Republican plan to repeal the Affordable Care Act. Senator John McCain casting the deciding vote to kill the new bill as he crosses party lines.
So now, Mr. President, it's time to move on.
The president fired up over the results, saying let Obamacare implode.
Open warfare in the White House. President Trump presides over a West Wing in chaos. His new communications director launches a profanity-laced tirade against the chief of staff. Trump's inner circle now in turmoil.
New details about that state fair tragedy. Inspectors checking the ride just hours before this fatal accident. The investigation right now as rides like this shut down across the country. Now the 18-year-old victim's family speaking out, desperate for answers.
And an ABC News exclusive, the amazing mother of three who survived an encounter with a great white shark that left these teeth marks, now telling her story for the first time.
I felt it grab me and hold me down.
How she fought off the shark, poking its eye and fighting back for her life.
Live in Times Square, this is GMA with Robin Roberts, George Stephanopoulos, and Michael Strahan.
And we do say good morning, America. Very busy Friday morning and a late night in Washington. The Senate voting down the latest Republican health care bill.
And the senators were prepared for a long night last night. Take a look. They rolled in mattresses, but they weren't the only ones who were up late. The protesters were also up late outside of the Capitol, and that was the moment they found out that the bill did not pass.
What a huge effort this was. 7 years the Republicans tried to repeal Obamacare. They've been fighting it out for the last 7 months. This was the last-ditch effort. They called it skinny repeal. The deciding vote, Senator John McCain, look at him right there, 21 minutes on the floor of the Senate after 1 a.m. talking to Vice President Mike Pence. Pence could not prevail. McCain voted no. After giving that emotional speech, remember earlier this week when he returned to the Senate with brain cancer, he admonished both parties in the Senate to work together. Now there's a big question on the table. Will they work together now?
What is going to happen now? Congressional correspondent Mary Bruce is following all the latest. She joins us this morning from Capitol Hill. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning, Robin. This was a massive blow to Republicans, the president, and their defining pledge to the American people. In the very early morning hours here, their latest push to overhaul Obamacare came crashing down.
The amendment's not agreed to.
It is a devastating defeat for Republicans' signature promise. Overnight, their latest effort to rewrite Obamacare collapsing by just one vote.
Mr. McCain.
The final blow delivered by Senator John McCain. On the floor, the vice president spotted huddling with the war hero once attacked by President Trump on the campaign trail, seemingly trying to convince him. But it wasn't enough. At 1:30 in the morning, McCain cast his decisive vote with a thumbs down. On the Senate floor, gasps and applause. In a statement, McCain defended the move, saying the bill offered no replacement to actually reform our healthcare system and deliver affordable, quality healthcare to our citizens. Outside the Capitol, protesters cheered the bill's defeat. After 7 years of promises and months of planning, it is an embarrassing blow for Republican leader Mitch McConnell.
We worked really hard. I think the American people are going to regret that we couldn't find a better way forward.
The so-called skinny repeal bill would have eliminated just some parts of Obamacare, like the mandate that all Americans have insurance. But that could have left 16 million more Americans uninsured and caused premiums for some to jump by 20%. Even some Republicans who supported the bill didn't want it to become law. They argued it was just a placeholder to buy more time to negotiate. This morning, Democrats say it's time to move on.
We are not celebrating. We are relieved that millions and millions of people who would have been so drastically hurt will at least retain their health care.
Leader Chuck Schumer emotional, recalling McCain's dramatic return to the Senate Tuesday after being diagnosed with brain cancer, backing McCain's call for the parties to now work together.
All of us were so inspired by the speech and the life of the senator from Arizona.
President Trump responded to the defeat overnight, again calling to let Obamacare implode and then make a deal.
So what comes next? Well, the Senate today here is moving on to other business. Leader McConnell seems to be throwing in the towel on health care, at least for now. If Republicans want to tackle this, they're now going to have to work with Democrats. And until the two parties can come together and find a new solution, Obamacare will remain the law of the land.
We will see if that can happen. Mary, thanks very much. Of course, this defeat for the president comes as he's dealing with open warfare inside his White House. Take a look again at this image. White House Chief of Staff Reince Priebus and the new Communications Director Anthony Scaramucci there in the Oval Office staring each other down. It sure looks right now like only one can survive this showdown, and the New York Post captures it on its front page this morning. Survivor, the reality show. Our Chief White House correspondent John Carl tracking all the latest on this fast-moving story. Good morning, John.
Good morning, George. It does look like all-out war in the West Wing, and for now at least, the president isn't doing anything to stop it. The president offered his embattled chief of staff a quick acknowledgement in the East Room of the White House, but he isn't coming to his defense as newly minted communications director Anthony Scaramucci unleashes a scathing personal attack. Scaramucci, in a shockingly blunt interview with The New Yorker, called Priebus a bleeping paranoid schizophrenic. The interview was done by The New Yorker's Ryan Lizza.
The White House was already deeply factionalized, and it was like putting Anthony Scaramucci in that job was like throwing a grenade into an ongoing civil war in the White House.
In that interview, Scaramucci directed a crude insult at White House Chief Strategist Steve Bannon and threatened to fire essentially the entire White House communications staff over leaks to the press, saying, "They'll all be fired by me. I fired one guy the other day. I have 3 to 4 people I'll fire tomorrow." He also hinted he has information on White House aides, telling The New Yorker, "I nailed these guys. I've got digital fingerprints on everything they've done through the FBI and the bleeping Department of Justice. They're going to get prosecuted." Scaramucci even suggested it was Priebus doing the leaking in a late-night tweet Wednesday that he later deleted, insisting he wasn't blaming the chief of staff, but when pressed by reporters, he issued a challenge to Priebus on live television.
They're all making the assumption that it's him because journalists know who the leakers are. So if Reince wants to explain that he's not a leaker, let him do that.
After the explosive interview was published, the new communications director tweeted a statement saying, "I sometimes use colorful language. I will refrain in this arena, but not give up the passionate fight for Donald Trump's agenda." According to the new White House press secretary, the president doesn't mind the infighting among his top aides.
I think the president, as always, enjoys healthy competition and conversation, and he sees that as such.
Does the president have confidence in his chief of staff?
If the president doesn't, then he'll make that decision. We all serve at the pleasure of the president, and if he gets to a place where that isn't the case, he'll let you know.
All this comes after the public humiliation of another senior official, Attorney General Jeff Sessions, who is now speaking out in an interview on Fox News after a week of criticism from the president himself, saying, quote, "It's kind of hurtful." But George, Sessions added in that interview that he stands by his decision to recuse himself from the Russia investigation. That was the decision that has the president so upset with him.
Yeah, not backing down on that at all. John, stand by. I want Mary Bruce to stay with us as well as we bring in John Avalon, the editor-in-chief of the Daily Beast, here as well. And as you just mentioned, John, Jeff Sessions still out there. Big criticism from the president all week long. You also had the president getting criticized just yesterday after announcing that transgender ban by his Joint Chiefs of Staff, saying they're not going to implement that bill until they get more direct guidance from the president. Of course, the Senate and the House passing Russian sanctions to the president over some objections that he's had previously. Now that is on his desk as well. And John, so you broaden out to this week. You look at the last 7 months, the president heading into his August recess. You're kind of running out of adjectives to describe what's going on here. We've never seen anything like it before.
We haven't. This is a level of chaos that we have just not seen in any modern White House and can't imagine being in the past. There's been no significant legislative achievements. I mean, last night's high drama moment with John McCain was decisive for the Republicans' core campaign promise to repeal Obamacare because they never could agree on what they would replace it with. But these internal feuds, these internal wounds festering and exploding into the public shows that tone comes from the top, and President Trump has failed to unite his White House, let alone the nation.
And John Carl, on that point right there, as I said at the beginning, it's hard to see how both Anthony Scaramucci and Reince Priebus survive after this open warfare playing out on the front pages of papers all across the country.
Yeah, I've talked to a senior advisor to this president, both inside and outside the White House, since this all broke. Some of those advisors to the president say that really Reince Priebus needs to go into the president and say, fire Scaramucci or I'm gone. But I've also talked to officials who believe that they could both stay, one actually invoking the Lord of the Flies here to describe what's going on in the West Wing.
That's not the only tension right now. The president also has tensions with his national security advisor over Afghanistan, with General Mattis, the head of the Pentagon, over this transgender ban, with his own Secretary of State.
Yeah, Secretary of State Tillerson actually had to come out and deny reports that he was on the verge of resigning. Tensions with most of the senior people advising this president. The one exception, the real bright exception to that, is John Kelly over at the Homeland Security Department. And George, I am told that he is high on the list of possible replacements for Reince Priebus as Chief of Staff.
Meantime, Mary Bruce on Capitol Hill, one of the other things we saw this week, not only that decisive vote by John McCain to stop the Obamacare repeal effort, but Republicans becoming more outspoken this week in their criticism of President Trump.
Yeah, and George, especially when it comes to Jeff Sessions, Republicans up here are taking sides. Many top Republicans, in fact, drawing a red line. Senator Lindsey Graham came out swinging yesterday, saying that if Trump does fire Sessions, there would be holy hell to pay. He says if he goes even further and tries to meddle and investigate the investigation with Bob Mueller, he says that would be the beginning of the end of the Trump presidency. Even if the president does move to fire Sessions, or if Sessions steps down, you have Republicans up here saying that they simply don't have enough bandwidth to give the president a new attorney general. Chairman Grassley of the Judiciary Committee saying no way they would have a new attorney general anytime soon.
But John Avalon, that investigation is still at the heart of President Trump's anger.
Absolutely. And it is the highest stakes investigation we've seen. Every step of the way, President Trump gives every indication of trying to shut it down one way or another. But what the Senate's saying, that if you fire Jeff Sessions, we won't confirm a replacement, that is a strong signal that they recognize that Mueller's investigation cannot be derailed. And these are as high stakes poker as you get right now.
No question about that. Thank you all very much. Much more Sunday on This Week. Robert?
Let me just ask you this, you know, because many people feel that this chaos at the White House it's kind of like look over here, so you don't look over here at the major issues that are facing the American people.
I don't think it's distraction. I don't think it's strategy at all. I think it's impulse. I think it's the personalities the president has put there. I think he tolerates this to some degree. It's one of the things we're seeing play out this morning. The question is, how long can a White House go on with open warfare like this?
Okay. I know you'll talk about it Sunday on This Week. Thank you, gentlemen, very much. Also this morning, there are flash flood warnings all the way from Alabama to New Jersey. A major storm is moving in for the weekend, and Ginger, of course, is tracking it all for us. Good morning, Ginger.
And Robin, this morning I'm concerned that scenes like this could be seen in the mid-Atlantic later today. So this was actually Kansas City, Missouri. The Indian Creek rose 17 feet in just 5 hours. Water rescues performed, 4 to 8 inches of rain. And then we've got pictures coming from Oklahoma of up to nearly 90-mile-per-hour winds, thousands without power there. The low-pressure system that is going to sit over and bring us lots of potential for flash flooding, Washington, D.C., Delaware, that's also going to go into the ocean, creating waves up to 10 feet. There are advisories. If you have plans to hit the beach, Atlantic City, Seaside Heights, up to Martha's Vineyard this weekend, you're going to want to pay attention to this. Also come back because I've got the rainfall totals in just a couple of moments. Michael?
All right, thank you, Ginger. Now we've got new details about that tragic accident at the Ohio State Fair. The victim's family is speaking out as concerns grow over ride safety this morning. ABC's Alex Perez is on the scene in Columbus, Ohio with the latest. Good morning, Alex.
Hey, good morning, Michael. Investigators are going through every inch of the accident site, searching for any clues that might help them figure out what went wrong here.
The fireball at the ride at the Ohio State Fair broke and people went flying.
This morning, new details about the ride behind that fatal amusement park accident.
It busted and people went flying.
Documents obtained by ABC News show the fireball passed state inspection by 4 different inspectors just hours before the deadly accident killed 1 and injured 7 riders. The documents from the Ohio Department of Agriculture say the ride, which earlier this month was used without incident at a state fair in New Jersey, passed more than 35 inspection criteria on Wednesday, checking off items like no visible unsecured items and motors, clutches, and controls functioning. But this morning, questions about what exactly went wrong.
I saw their face before death. Like, they knew they were hitting the ground. They knew they were about to die.
The ride's manufacturer instructing officials everywhere to cease operation of the ride until further notice. Officials in North Carolina, Illinois, California, Indiana, New Jersey, and Kentucky immediately following that order. The Fireball, manufactured by Dutch company KMG, swings riders 40 feet above the ground, spinning them at 13 revolutions a minute. The company now among those investigating what happened to cause one of the 6 spinning gondolas to detach from its supporting arm. According to the CPSC, there have been 22 known fatalities associated with amusement attractions since 2010.
Whether it be bolts, whether it be welds, whether it be metal fatigue, or something along those lines. It obviously had to do with the structure, but what caused it, we'll have to wait for that.
This morning, the family of Tyler Jarrell, the 18-year-old victim who had enlisted just last week to be a Marine, wants answers.
I would like to know why it happened. If it was supposed to be safe and everything was supposed to be inspected by everyone before the tragedy happened, then it should not have never happened to begin with.
And authorities say it could be days or weeks before the investigation here is complete. As for the other rides, officials say they will remain shut down until they can all be re-inspected. Michael?
All right, thank you very much, Alex, for that. And Amy, the morning's other top headlines.
That's right. Good morning, everyone. And we begin with more than 50 people who were injured this morning when a commuter train crashed into a barrier while entering a station in Barcelona, Spain. One passenger reported hearing a loud noise as the train was braking. Most of the other injuries, thankfully, were minor. Well, there are new diplomatic tensions between the United States and Russia. The Russian government has seized 2 U.S. diplomatic compounds and ordered the embassy in Moscow to reduce its staff. That order is in retaliation for new economic sanctions approved by Congress. President Trump has not yet signed off on those sanctions. About 10,000 tourists in North Carolina are being told to evacuate the Outer Banks because of a widespread power outage. A construction crew cut a major cable, leaving Ocracoke Island without electricity or water, and it could be weeks before power is restored there. And finally, the New York Yankees may be hoping for a visit from the Tooth Fairy. Rookie Aaron Judge was celebrating the team's win last night when another player's helmet knocked out one of his teeth, and then the search was on. I know, there it is, you see it, wow. A reporter tweeted this picture in the field. They were looking for the tooth, they found it, and now Judge's missing tooth has its own Twitter account because that's the world we live in.
That is the world we live in now. Amy, thank you. Let's get to Ginger with more on the heavy rain that's coming this weekend. Ginger?
It is, especially tonight into early tomorrow. If you live Delmarva Peninsula, southern New Jersey, back through eastern West Virginia, this is the trouble spot. I want to show you how much rain could fall, anywhere from 3 to 5 inches. You see that little swath of green? That would be a 4+ from just south of Dover. Georgetown's in there, and southern especially southern New Jersey. All right, that's all happening in the next 24 hours. Your local weather is coming up, but first, the weekend getaway is brought to you by Walmart.
It's a rare summer rainstorm for the area. Now, things are going to be ramping up starting this afternoon after about 1, 2 o'clock. So some early morning showers. Grab the umbrella. The big one for today, if you're going to be out late, could even get some high winds that may lead to some scattered power outages across the area on Saturday. Here's the story today: 1 to 2 inches overnight, and then an additional inch of rain by the time things start winding down tomorrow about 5 o'clock. Today, 84. Tomorrow on the cool side, 74.
More thing, rip current risk this weekend along with those big waves. That's a problem. So weekend plans, please check ahead and don't get in the water if you don't have to.
Good advice there, Ginger. Thanks.
It is good advice. Coming up here, new developments in that murder mystery on a cruise ship. Witnesses are now coming forward, and the victim's husband is in custody.
And that mom of three's incredible story, how she survived a great white shark attack by poking it in the eye and making a big escape. Her boyfriend also had a hand in helping her as well.
New York Magazine, this is Jeanette Walls. This is not where I thought that I was going to end up.
No,
all this running around is temporary.